we're also joined by the film star Lee Byung-hun. Thank you both so much for being here today. Director Park, to start with you, this film was a 20-year journey of adapting the book that the film is based on. But I think as everyone in this audience can attest, it feels like it was made yesterday. It feels as up to date as any movie I've seen this year. How did it become so current, and how did it evolve over the course of getting this film made?
사실 이 소설이 만들어졌을 때, 그러니까 집필되었을 때, 그러니까 90년대 말이고, 제가 또 이 영화 각색을 시작했을 때는 2009년인데요. 그때만 해도 이 AI 같은 AI의 위협, 일자리를 뺏는 위협에 대해서 별로 사람들이 생각을 많이 안 했던 때였죠.
The original novel that the film is based on was published back in the late 90s, and then my adaptation process began back in 2009. And even back then, there was no looming threat of AI possibly taking over our jobs.
그런데 이제 이 영화 노동 시장 문제를 다루는 이 영화를 만드는 데 있어서 그 이슈를 다루지 않고서는 사실 만드는 게 이상한 시대가 되어버렸잖아요.
But to portray the problems of the labor market today, this was an issue that I could not avoid portraying.
그래서 보셨다시피 마지막에 만수가 공장 영화에서 퇴장하는 마지막 샷에서 뒤에서 불이 하나씩 꺼지는 모습을 보셨을 거예요. 그 소등 시스템이 작동되는 것이고 그것은 인공지능이 이 공장은 내가 지배하겠다. 그러니까 당신은 이제 필요 없다. 여기서 나가라라고 그렇게 등을 떠미는 그런 것에 대한 그런 것을 표현하려고 했던 장면입니다.
And as you might have seen at the very end of the film, the shot where Mansu is exiting the factory, the lights begin to go off one by one behind him. And this is activated as part of the lights off system that were mentioned in an earlier scene. And I wanted to portray it in a way where the AI is saying, I own this factory now, and it's pushing Mansu out as if we don't really need you anymore.
Lee Byung-hun, you and Director Park first worked together in 2000 on Joint Security Area. You've made a lot of films since then, and I know that originally this film was going to be made in America. It wasn't always something that was going to be a reunion. So at what point did the conversation between the two of you start for you to be Mansu and be part of this movie?
It's been almost 15 years ago. I was shooting some project in LA, and he was in LA too for some work. So we had a lunch together, and he mentioned about the project X. And at the time, he was trying to make it as an American film, and he changed his mind like a couple of years ago, and 2 years ago, he called me, and I'm gonna make it as a Korean film. So why don't you join me? So that's how I participated in this project.
Was working together 25 years later different, or are you guys still the same as you were back then?
Still the same, but 훨씬 까다로워졌어요.
You've gotten pickier.
What does that mean? How have you gotten pickier in 25 years?
저는 똑같다, 연출 똑같이 한다고 생각을 했는데 이제 한 샷을 찍을 때 한 번 테이크가 가잖아요. 그러면 제가 그 연기를 지켜보다가 자 좋았는데 이번에는 조금 더 뭔가를 더 하나 추가해서 그렇게 다시 해보자 이렇게 하고 그걸 또 찍고 나서 그 연기하는 걸 보면서 또 좋은 생각이 나서 또 하나 더 하자 이렇게 자꾸 요구를 늘려가니까 힘들어 하더라고요.
I feel as if I've always worked the same way, but thinking back, I think when we were shooting this time, between takes, I would say something like, oh, that was really good, but this time, why don't we add this or that? And then after another take, I would say, oh, I thought of one more good idea, why don't we try this one now? So I would keep increasing my requirements for him, so maybe that's why he thought he had a hard time.
처음에 연기를 하고 너무 좋았다고 얘기하면서 한 3가지 정도의 사항들을 저한테 그 연기를 하면서 첨가를 시키세요. 그래서 또 그걸 해내면 너무 좋았다고 또 얘기하면서 또 한 3-4가지 정도를 또 첨가를 시켜요. 나중에 제가 사람이 아니고 AI인 줄 아셨나 봐요.
At first, he says, wow, that was such a good performance. And then he brings up 3 more situations to think about. And then once I execute that, he adds 3 more situations. So it almost feels as if, am I AI? That's what it is.
It's an actor's greatest fear. Director Park, the way that you set up the storyboards for your films is, I don't know if you're the only director who does it, but it's very unique. It's this very distinctive visual style. How do you set that up and work with actors that way? How do you storyboard your films and then bring in an actor who you know so well to be able to bring a performance to bring it to life?
스토리보드 만들 때 물론 배우와 함께 하진 않죠. 촬영 감독과 하는데 이제 계속 생각을 하고 대화합니다. 촬영 감독과 이 샷에서 또 이 씬에서 이 배우가 이렇게 뭐 서서 이렇게 걸어다니면서 대사를 하기를 바랄까? 아니면 앉아서 가만히 대사를 하기를 바랄까? 이런 대화들을 계속 합니다. 그러다가 잘 모르겠을 때는 배우한테 물어보기도 하죠. 리딩할 때. 나는 앉아서 하는 것으로 지금 샷 플랜을 짜고 있는데 당신 생각은 어때? 라고 물어보기도 하고 그런 식으로 저 혼자만 생각해서 이렇게 하질 않고 배우의 생각을 되도록 반영하거나 또는 제가 예상해서 스토리보드를 만들곤 하죠.
Yes, when I storyboard, I don't work with the actors necessarily in the process. I would be storyboarding with my DP. But together, we always brainstorm and have conversations about the performance and the blocking. So we would say, oh, for this shot, when they're having their dialogue, do you think the actor would want to walk around and say their dialogue or sit down? So we would continue to have these conversations as we storyboard. And of course, we ask for the actors' feedback during table reads as well. I would tell them, oh, this is the plan for the shots that I have. I have you sitting down in this shot, but what do you think? Do you think you would want to sit down? So it's not just my thoughts that get reflected onto the storyboards. I try to reflect the actors' opinions, or at least predict it as much as I could when I storyboard.
그렇게 열심히 이제 만드는데 근데 이제 실제 촬영 현장에 가면 어떤 일이 벌어지냐 하면은 얘기하세요.
So that's how much effort I put into my storyboards. But when you actually go on set, this is what happens. You can tell them.
저렇게 한 장면 한 장면 스토리보드에 굉장히 정성을 쏟아서 만드시는 감독님께는 정말 죄송한 마음인데 저는 스토리보드를 사실 안 봐요.
He is a director that is really building that storyboard shot by shot and puts in so much effort, and I have to apologize because I don't look at it.
근데 스토리보드를 안 보아 버릇한 것은 사실은 애초부터 저는 그랬었어요. 왜냐하면 배우가 어떤 이야기를 머릿속에 상상을 할 때 그 상상의 나래를 펴고 나 나름대로의 그 어떤 창의력으로 어떤 이야기를 읽는다고 생각하는데 스토리보드를 보는 순간 그 프레임 안에 갇혀버린다는 느낌을 자꾸 받았었거든요.
I actually didn't really look at storyboards from the start because I like to imagine the story myself, or rather, to use my own imagination to read the script. And so I don't want to be confined within the box of the storyboard itself.
그래서 대충 보통은 시나리오를 읽으면서 대충의 여기에서 바스트샷이겠구나, 여기서 풀샷이겠구나를 어느 정도 예측할 수 있는데, 감독님의 경우에는 제가 아침에 현장에 도착해서 스토리보드 쪽지로 나오는 걸 보면 제가 상상했던 거랑 항상 완전히 달랐어요.
So when I read the script, I naturally imagine, oh, this moment is going to be a close-up, or this moment is going to be a wide, and I'm able to predict a little bit. However, when I would go on one of Director Park's sets, I look at the storyboard for the day, and it's not what I expected at all.
그래서 내가 얼마나 생각이 짧았는지, 그리고 감독님이 워낙 스토리보드에 대한 정말 영화를 하고자 하는 영화 학도들이 얼마나 감독님의 스토리보드를 높게 생각하고 있는지를 많이 들어서 알고 있지만, 왜 이분이 이렇게 명감독이구나, 거장이구나 라는 것을 이번 작업을 하면서 또 한번 느꼈죠.
And seeing that discrepancy made me realize how limited my thoughts might have been towards how the film would be shot. And it made me realize also why so many film students and academics really admire Director Park's storyboards, because he really is a master of his craft.
말은 저렇게 하지만 아마 다음 작품 또 하게 되면 그때도 또 안 볼 거예요.
He says it nicely like that, but if we work together again, he probably would not look at the storyboard.
I think one of the best examples of how the storyboards and performances and the film's tone with the blend of comedy and drama come together is the Red Dragonfly sequence, the fight scene with the very loud music on the record player. You all know what I'm talking about. So, Director Park, let's start with you. How do those things work together to make that scene? How do you make sure that the action and the comedy and the stakes all stay together and make that scene work as well as it does?
물론 이 장면은 제 일찌감치부터 스토리보드를 시작했죠. 준비할 게 많으니까. 그래서 먼저 촬영 감독과 스토리보드 만들고 그것을 무술팀에 보내서 스턴트 코디네이터가 또 제안한 것을 다시 받아서 수정하고 스토리보드를, 그리고 또 그걸 놓고 스턴트 팀이 자기들끼리 연기 역할을 맡아가지고 체육관에 테이프 붙여서 방 크기 만들어서 그 안에서 스토리보드대로 연기하고 그걸 캠코더로 찍어서 편집하고 이런 과정을 거칩니다.
Yes, that scene in particular was actually one of the first scenes that we storyboarded, because I knew that there was going to be a lot of preparations going into it. So after working on the storyboard with my DP, we shared it with the stunt team, and then the stunt coordinator would give us feedback, and then we would revise it back based off of that as well. And after we were done storyboarding, the stunt team actually divided up the roles, and then they taped up the dimensions of the room in a big gym, and then they acted out that scene, and they recorded it on a camcorder, and then we also edited as it were supposed to be edited, and then we would watch it back again.
그리고 그 비디오를 배우들과 함께 보면서 배우들의 의견을 들어서 또 좀 수정하고, 그리고 나서 이제 배우들이 스턴트 팀과 함께 이제 연습을 몇 주 동안 하죠. 그렇게 계획을 다 해서 이제 촬영을 하는데, 현장에 가면 또 이제 이 사람 배우가 이제 셋이고 저까지 넷이서 이런저런 얘기를 하다 보면은 또 뭐 갑자기 즉흥적으로 재밌는 또 이런 아이디어들이, 이러면 어떨까 저러면 어떨까 막 이런 것들이 이제 튀어나오기 마련입니다. 예를 들어서 하나 직접 해봐.
And then after we recorded, we would watch the video with the actors and make more revisions based on their feedback. And after all of that is completed, the actors would practice for weeks with the stunt team. So there were a lot of preparations that went into that scene. But on set, there are 3 actors for the scene, and including me, the 4 of us would continue sharing conversations about new ideas. So new ideas would keep popping up on set. For example, Byung-hun would discuss it.
그 리허설을 하던 중에 셋이서 그 총을 차지하려고 하다가 보면 그것을 잡으려고 하지만 그게 툭 쳐져서 저 캐비넷 안으로 훅 들어가게 되면 어떨까 이런 생각을 하게 됐어요. 그래서 정말 무슨 지렁이처럼 세 사람이 막 이렇게 몰려들잖아요. 그 총을 잡으려고. 거기서 막 서로 먼저 잡으려고 서로들 애쓰는 모습. 이런 모습이 들어가면 어떨까를 제안을 했고 그 장면을 감독님이 너무 좋아하셔서 실제 촬영에 적용이 됐었죠.
When we were going through the rehearsal, there is the moment where the three characters are all looking for the gun together. So the gun is sort of pushed and swatted under the credenza, and it's almost as if they're all worms. They kind of crowd towards this credenza and are in so much effort to try to get this gun. And that was a suggestion that I had that director Park really loved, so we ended up incorporating it into the day of the shoot.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
예, 그 총이 그 아래로 들어가는 것은 병원의 아이디어가 맞는데 그 안에서 더듬다가 누군가가 잘못 건드려서 발사된다. 그건 내가 생각한 거 아니야?
Yes, the gun sliding under there, that was his idea, but the moment where they accidentally fire the gun underneath, that was my idea.
To stick with the idea of how the comedy comes out in this, from the acting point of view, because so much of the comedy and how terrible Mansu is as a killer. He's not doing a very good job at any of this stuff. So how do you bring that out in the physicality of the performance, not just in the fight scene, but in how he's going about his business? What do you do with your body to get that across?
사실은 코미디라는 것은 내가 웃기려고 의도를 하면 할수록 사실은 관객들은 웃지 못하고 오히려 감정이 이입됐던 것이 오히려 더 빠져나온다고 생각을 해요.
The thing about comedy is the more I am trying to get the audience to laugh, the more I feel like the audience falls out of the narrative.
우리가 왜 그 인생이라는 것도 멀리서 보면 굉장히 희극이지만 우스꽝스럽고 또 가까이 카메라가 들여다 가까이 보면 굉장히 처절하고 비극이잖아요. 그런 것과 비슷한 것 같아요.
I think it's like life in a way that from a distance it can be seen as a comedy or there's some funny elements to it. However, like a camera, if you were to go up close in a close-up, then it could be a tragedy.
이 이야기를 만수를 연기하는 동안 더 그 상황에 입각해서 몰입해서 내가 더 몰입을 하고 감정적으로 연기를 해야 그것이 웃기는 의도로 만들었을 때 더 웃기고 더 서글프고 할 거라고 생각을 했어요. 그래서 감정에만 철저히 좀 몰입하고자 했어요. 그러다 보면 분명히 웃는 구간에서 관객들이 웃을 수 있지 않을까라는 믿음이 있었죠.
Acting as Mansu, I really had to be extremely focused and be emotionally invested. The moments that are funny, the moments that are sad, unless I was completely emotionally invested, I knew it would not be convincing or naturally be accepted by the audience. So I just focused on the emotionality of it.
Director Park, is that how you feel about comedy as well? That the harder you try to make the audience laugh, the less they're going to laugh?
예, 그러니까 각본, 그러니까 스토리 자체가 그리고 그 매 씬의 그 상황, 그 조건들이 이 코미디를 만드는 것이고요. 배우는 그렇게 웃기겠다는 의도를 가질 필요가 없다고 저도 병원과 똑같이 생각합니다. 웃기겠다는 의도를 갖지 않거나 아니면 그 의도를 가지더라도 관객에게 들키지 않아야 한다고 생각합니다.
Yes, I think what really creates comedy is the story itself or the circumstances and situations of each scene. The actor does not need to have the intention to make the audience laugh. So I agree with Byung-hun on that point. So they either don't have to have that intention, and even if they do, they can't get caught by the audience.
제일 대표적인 장면이 그 첫 번째 빅팀이 죽고 나서 은행나무가 보이는 아주 와이드 앵글 샷이 있잖아요. 거기서 막 그 비명을 지르면서 도망치는 만수, 그리고 뒤에서 쫓아오는 아라, 이렇게 구부러진 길. 그 장면이 아마 제일 웃기는 장면 중에 하나일 텐데, 거기서의 만수는 정말 처절하게 정말 절박한 마음으로 도망갈 뿐입니다. 거기서 관객을 웃기겠다는 마음은 전혀 없죠.
I think the scene that best demonstrates that is after the death of our first victim, there's a very wide shot with the ginkgo trees, and Ara is screaming and running down this curvy path, and Mansu is also screaming and trying to get away from her. I think that's one of the funniest scenes of the movie, but in this moment, Mansu is simply just desperately and pitifully trying to run from this woman.
So this film was the winner of the International People's Choice Award in Toronto Film Festival. It premiered at Venice, where it got an enormous standing ovation. It has played around the world. You guys have been able to see it around the world. What have you noticed about how audiences around the world are reacting to it? Is it different in different countries, or is it a universal experience and everyone kind of, I imagine, identifies with Mansu a little bit, even though he's making a choice most of us wouldn't?
예, 뭐 사실 크게 봐서는 비슷하고요. 근데 조금 세부로 들어가면 하나도 같은 관객들은 없는 것 같아요. 자, 뭐 어느 도시에서 틀느냐에 따라 다르기도 하고, 그 도시 같은 도시여도 뭐 낮에 보느냐 밤에 보느냐에 따라 다르고, 당연히 또 언론인 비평가들 시사냐 일반 관객 시사냐에 따라 다르고, 뭐 다 조금씩은 다릅니다.
I think in a larger sense of the word, the audience reactions were all pretty much the same. But if you get down to the details of it all, none of them were the same. So they were different by city, they were different per day or night screenings, critics or public screenings. So if you really consider the details of their reactions, none of them were the same.
그러나 크게 봐서 만수에게 공감하고 하는 건, 그런 면에서 말씀드리자면은 이 자본주의 시스템 하에 있는 모든 나라에서는 다 결국 다 비슷하게 격한 공감을 하지 않나 이렇게 생각합니다.
But I think generally, especially in relations to how the audience empathizes with Mansu, anyone from any country under a capitalist system will be able to relate very well to the movie.
Yagan, how about you? What have you noticed seeing different audiences see this film?
저도 오늘 7번째 영화를 보는데 나라마다 달랐어요. 도시마다 달랐고 나라마다 다르고, 웃는 포인트도 문화에 따라 조금씩 또 다른 그런 기분이었던 것 같아요.
This was my 7th time seeing the film, and I definitely noticed differences between not only countries but also cities. So I feel like the kind of laughing points for every culture is a little bit different.
이 영화가 이야기하고자 하는 그런 주제에는 모든 사람들이 거의 비슷한 공감을 하겠지만, 과연 만수에게 공감을 했느냐는 반반일 수 있을 거라고 생각해요. 왜냐면 누가 사실 뭐 갑자기 해고를 당했다고 사람 죽일 생각을 하겠어요.
I think most people will empathize with what the film is trying to say. However, the audience might be split 50-50 on whether they empathize with Mansu, because who is so drastic as to kill someone because they were fired?
감독님의 의도를 나중에 들어보니까 그런 착하고 가족을 사랑하고 하는 그런 어떤 마음도 약한 만수가 그런 극단적인 결정을 내리고 또 극단적인 행동을 했을 때 어느 정도는 약간 객관적인 관찰자의 입장으로 바라보기도 하다가 또다시 그에게 몰입을 했다가 또 말리고 싶은 감정이었다가 이런 것들이 반복되기를 원했다고 하시더라고요.
When I asked Director Park his intention for creating such a kind, faint-hearted, and family-oriented character like Mansu become embroiled in such extreme actions, he said that he wanted the audience to almost have an objective point of view at times, then empathize and completely be in Mansu's point of view, and then go in and out and have that process repeat throughout viewing the film.
Hey, Director Park, I'd ask, there's a specific thing that you've said about, I think, the swing that we see throughout the film that represents that coming in and out of Mansu's point of view. Can you talk about how you visualize that, not just with how the story and the performances work, but visually how we come in and out of empathizing with him?
예, 그것은 뭐 제가 관객이 만수를 대하는 태도를 설명할 때 사용했던 비유죠. 그렇게 아이가 그네타면서 아빠한테 다가갔다 멀어졌다 하는 것처럼 관객도 만수에 대해서 완전히 공감하고 그를 심지어 응원하고 그럴 때가 있는가 하면 또 어떤 순간에는 잠깐만 가만히 있어봐, 내가 왜 저런 짓을 응원하고 있지? 라는 생각이 들기도 하고 그런 것이 왔다 갔다 한다는 뜻이었습니다.
Yes, that was a comparison that I used to describe the audience's attitude towards Mansu throughout the film. So just like the image of the daughter swinging farther and closer from her father, there were moments when the audience is empathizing greatly with Mansu and they're rooting for him. And at other moments, they break out of it and question themselves, why am I rooting for such terrible things? So that action of moving back and forth is visually similar to the image of the swing.
Do you empathize with Mansu at the end of this? Would you tell us if you do?
예, 물론 살인이라는 것을 뭐 정당화할 수는 없지요. 뭐 살인을 다루는 또는 뭐 그 살인 말고도 수없이 많은 그 범죄라든가 부도덕한 행위를 다루는 영화들이나 문학 작품들이 있는데. 우리가 실제로 살인을 저지른다거나 저런 상황에서 또는 그런 사람을 지지한다거나 실생활에서 그럴 수는 없겠지만 예술이라는 것이 가진 독특한 힘이라는 것은 그런 행동을 하는 사람, 그런 마음을 먹은 사람에 대해서 거기 안에 들어가서 공감을 하고 그럴 수도 있겠다라고 상상을 해보는 것, 그것이 우리처럼 평범한 일상을 사는 사람의 상상력의 지평을 넓혀주는 일이고 그것이 인간에 대한 통찰력을 넓히는 길이라고 저는 생각합니다.
Well, of course, you can't justify murder. And in many literary works, there are other similar subjects of characters that commit murder or other unethical acts like crimes. And of course, you can't actually support someone who wants to murder people in our real lives. But I think the special power of art is that you get to go into the mind of these people who have those thoughts. And you're able to empathize with them and imagine the situation they're in and think to yourself, oh, I could see why they would think that way. And for all of us who are living in our daily lives in this world, it allows us to expand our sense of imagination, which as a result would lead to a better insight into mankind as a whole.
Well, I think everyone in this room can agree we might not justify murder, but it's fun to watch and very entertaining and satisfying to watch in a movie like this. Thank you both so much for being here to talk about the film. Thank you all for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.